Hello everyone, welcome to this class, and today I want to talk on friction. So friction is a force that resists the motion when the surface of an object comes in contact with the surface of another object. So friction is a force that resists motion, or you can say that friction is a force that opposes motion when the surface of one object come in contact with the surface of another. And friction is an example of a contact force. We have two types of force. We have field force, and then we also have the contact. We have the contact force. So friction is an example of a contact force. So now let's move to the type of friction. So we have two type of friction. So we have the static or limited friction, and then we have the kinetic or the dynamic friction. So static friction is the maximum force that must be overcome before a body can just start to move. So static friction is a friction that must be overcome before a body starts to move, while a kinetic or dynamic friction is the force that must be overcome so that a body can move with uniform speed. So don't forget, static friction is the friction that must be overcome before a body can move. Then the second one is the force that must be overcome so that the body will move in uniform speed. Now let's look at the laws of solid friction. So now the first one here is that friction opposes relative motion. So that is something that you must know about friction. Friction opposes relative motion between two surfaces in contact, and it always acts in opposite to the motion. That's because it opposes motion, so it acts in opposite to the motion. And then frictional force depends on the nature of the surface in contact. Frictional force depends on the nature of the surface in contact, and then frictional force is independent of the area of the surface in contact. So these are the kind of questions that usually come out in Jamb sometimes, like theory question that don't need the calculation like that. So know that frictional force depends on the nature of the substance, and it is independent on the area. And frictional force is proportional to the normal reaction. Frictional force is proportional to the normal reaction. So now let's look at this. So if frictional force is proportional to the normal reaction, we have this. So to remove the proportionality sign that we have here, we need to add a constant there. And the constant that we are going to add there is this. The symbol here is mu. Mu is a Greek letter, mu. It is mu. So frictional force is equal to mu times r. So this mu is now equal to F over r. So mu is what we call the coefficient. The coefficient of friction is a coefficient of friction. F is the frictional force, and R is the normal reaction. Now something that you must know about this coefficient of friction is that it has no unit. And the reason why it has no unit is because the unit of frictional force is in Newton. The normal reaction too is in Newton. So Newton will cancel each other. So mu or coefficient of frictional force does not have any unit. So now look at this. Assuming that this is a body in surface, and assuming that this is a block like this, So this block, it has a weight, and something about weight is that weight always acts downward. Weight always acts downward. And then, according to Newton's third law of motion, it states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So there is a force that acts opposite to the weight, and that force is called the normal reaction. That force is called the normal reaction, R. You get it like that? So assuming that this is the direction of the motion, frictional force will act opposite to the direction of the motion. So from the first law of solid friction that we said that friction always opposes relative motion, and it acts opposite to the motion. So if the motion is going one way like this, friction will move into another way. So there are still some calculation that we have to do on this. I will be doing it later on in the next video. So there are some calculation both for normal flat space and calculation that involve implying plane. Now let's now look at the advantage of friction. So friction make walking possible, and also friction enable automobile tire to make firm grip with the roadway. It is also used in fan belts, in wheel and pulling machinery. And friction also enables the brake to stop the car. It enables the brake to function properly. And then disadvantage of friction. So friction leads to wear and tear on the moving part of machine, and it reduces efficiency. And the way friction is reduces efficiency, it does it by converting useful work into heat. The useful work that's supposed to be done inside the machine is now converted to heat energy. So it reduces the efficiency of machine. And actually that is why the efficiency of machine is never 100%. The reason why the efficiency of machine is not 100% because of frictional force between the moving parts. So now let's look at the method of reducing friction. We have use of lubricants like oil, grease. We have use of ball or roller bearing, and then streamlining of body shape of moving parts. So thank you for listening. We'll continue in the next time. Thank you and bye bye.